Hey there guys, Weird Legacy back at you with another video. An Unsolved Mysteries video as a matter of fact, which is a topic I haven't covered in quite some time. So basically what happened really with the channel is I kind of neglected it for a while, and basically the reason behind that was because I just kind of got burnt out on it. I was covering so many different topics that I just kind of, kind of lost my passion for everything. And then I'm still obviously logged into my YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube, so I'm logged into it. And I was checking my subscriber count today, and this channel is sitting at 192 subscribers, which is pretty crazy to think about, actually. Because it's hard. It's hard gaining subscribers, and to have almost 200 of them is pretty surreal to me. Which, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like 200 isn't a lot, but I mean, it's a lot to me, which is a small channel. So I mean, I've always said, like, as long as people watch my content, I would continue to make it. Which I haven't done anything in a long time, because I just kind of got, like I said, I got burnt out on it. So I really haven't done anything in a long time. I've posted some stuff here and there, but nothing like this, where it's me talking to you uh, like this. So I don't know if like a lot of my subscribers are still watching or are gonna see this video or not. But just to let you know, like, I am gonna start doing this kind of stuff again. Just not on the grand scale of things that I was trying to do it before. Just because I just found myself getting burnt out on it too quick, and I lost my passion for it. And I still do. I have a passion for unsolved mysteries and just true crime in general. And I think the thing that's kind of came out of this, which is probably the best thing, is that we have Unsolved Mysteries back on YouTube. Of course, it's not the original videos or episodes, I should say, because the Film Rise episodes that came out like a few years ago. I think maybe in, I don't know, maybe 2014, maybe 2015 or 2016, somewhere around there. Those came out, and then they added them to YouTube maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So it's good to have them. It's, of course, it's not like the original show. They're edited episodes. They look good, obviously, but they're edited, and there is segments cut out, because I guess their reason for that was time constraints, which I always thought was kind of weird, because you're streaming on um, Amazon, so I don't know why there would be time constraints. But I mean, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. But yeah, it's something, that a lot of us in this community that love this show, that love true crime, when they started taking down the old like VHS quality videos that they had, probably from like, I don't even know, probably the beginning of YouTube till probably about 2013, 2014 was when they started taking them down. Yeah, so I think that's when that happened, was like 2013, 2014. And then I think in like 2015, maybe 16 or 17, was when they did those Film Rise Unsolved Mysteries episodes, and then they put them on Film Rise, and then they put them on YouTube like 2 or 3 years ago. But it goes to show that, like, our voices were heard. Like, so many people wanted that show back, because it's like it a guy that I'm friends with, Nams Noodle. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he is a friend of mine, and I met him through here, through doing this kind of thing, and being a fan of his and watching his unsolved mystery stuff that he used to do. But he said in one of his videos, like, it was hard. It's hard to find the episodes, and I mean, especially at that time, when there was no I'm just gonna adjust myself here. When there was no Film Rise episodes on YouTube, like, it was hard to find the episodes. Like, because I remember how I met him was how I was looking through YouTube through Unsolved Mysteries, and somehow I had heard about his channel, and I guess he had links to like hidden playlists, I guess, that you had to have the certain link to get the playlist, and the playlist would have like different segments of Unsolved Mysteries, and that's how I met him. Like, guys would just have that, and they'd have like VHS quality videos of the old Unsolved Mysteries episodes on there. And then after a while, John Cosgrove and Terry Moyer and Viacom and just Unsolved, the guys do who own the rights to Unsolved Mysteries took them down, which they have every right to. That's their copyright. And they even came to me one time and emailed me because I guess they had found my videos, because I think I had posted them on my old Twitter or something like that, and they actually told me to email them, and they had stated to me that I needed to take down the thumbnail, or their logo from the thumbnail in my videos, because that's what I was doing, and I didn't really know at the time that it was a big deal, but I did it no harm. Like it was no big deal. I did it. It was just I just kind of did it just because, just to kind of, I don't even know, maybe clickbait in a way. I don't know, but I just thought it would go with the video with the videos that I was doing at the time, and with this video now. Not that I'm going to be doing that this time around. I'll just probably be just me in the thumbnail or whatever. Uh, but yeah, even I had a run in with them, and I mean they had every right to suggest that I take that down. And I mean I was never monetizing the videos or anything. I just did it because it was a hobby. It was fun to do, which is kind of what I'm doing now, or attempting to do anyway. I don't know how this is gonna go, but like I said, it's good that we kind of got that back, because we, all of us on Twitter and on YouTube and everything, I think they finally listened to us, and we have something else out there, and now we can go back and look on some of the old cases, because even though there's still cut episodes, there's still many great cases on there, and I'm gonna get into one of them in a few minutes, in like a minute or two here after I'm done talking. But I do plan to do this more. This isn't just gonna be a one-time thing. For now, this is just gonna be kind of to test the waters, to kind of see how things are gonna go, and to see if the channel grows a bit more, if this video gets views, and yeah, we'll just go from there. It's not gonna be an everyday thing or an every week thing. At least right now. Well, I don't think it's gonna be an everyday thing at all, but because I just think that would just burn me out again, and I don't want to do that. So, but I don't know if it's gonna be an every week thing, or I think for now it'd just be once in a while, if I'm watching something, or I hear about a case or something that I want to cover, then I'll do it on here. Like I was thinking about doing the Gabby Petito case, because I know that's a fairly big, it's still a fairly big case, because it just happened in the summer where she was found, and then now Brian Laundrie was found like a few weeks ago, and now his cause of death has been determined as a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Well, and just there's a lot of holes in that. There's a lot of holes in that case, and just there's a whole lot to cover in that case, and I've been very intrigued by it. But so that may be something that I decide to look into and cover in the future, or in my next video, which, I mean, depending on how this goes, will probably be pretty soon, but we'll see. But anyway, enough about me babbling on. I know you guys tune in for Unsolved Mysteries, and I'll probably leave something in the description that if you want to skip all this of me talking, that you can just skip to the case. So the case that I'm going to be covering today is the case of Michael Hunter. Now, this case happened in San Francisco on February 24th, 1992, so almost 30 years ago now. And before I get into the case, I'm going to get into Michael Hunter's background. Now, Michael Hunter was a motorcycle racer, and he was well known in the San Francisco area, and I don't know exactly when he started, but in the episode of Unsolved Mysteries, they say that he started to get pretty big and pretty well known throughout the 80s. But I'm sure he probably started earlier than that. He probably started in his teenage years, probably. So he kind of got pretty well known in the races and community. He apparently won a lot of events, and he was very well known in the community. He had a friend, I forget her name, but she appears in the episode, and she said that that Michael had taught her how to ride properly and how to ride clean, and he just had a very deep passion for riding and motorcycles in general. And even his mom stated that Michael had stated that it gave him like the highest high that he could ever get. So I would assume that he probably loved the feeling of adrenaline, loved the feeling of going down a road or on a trail just at high speeds, and just going fast and furious down the road and through corners, and racing other people and just going through and trying to win all these races. And it seemed like he had a very good passion for or had a very deep passion for that, and he enjoyed racing. So I mean, that's a little bit of the background of Michael Hunter that I know of. At the time of the case, he was 30 years old. And we'll kind of get into, I've made some notes as to like the times and leading up to his murder and what happened. So I'll kind of get into that right now. So around 7:45, Michael suited up and went on his motorcycle and went on a ride. The night on February 24th was almost like a summer night. It was like towards the end of winter, and it was warm. There was no breeze. It was crystal clear. It was the kind of evening that a guy like Michael Hunter, or a guy who that's a motorcycle enthusiast, or any kind of off-road vehicle enthusiast would love to go out on. So it was a very good night. There was no breeze or anything, or any kind of bad weather whatsoever. It was a perfect night for him, for Michael to go out on this ride. So minutes after starting his ride, Michael stopped at an ATM about a half a mile away from his home. He took out $20 from his account. A security camera had picked up images of him at the ATM. Now, I watched the episode earlier before I started doing this video, and when they show the screenshots, well, because that's what we call them now, but the pictures of what the security camera picked up, you can see Michael Hunter, and he's at the ATM and he's getting cash. I believe it was $20 that he took out. As a matter of fact, yeah, it was, because I just said that. But yeah, so they show him with his card, and he's basically making a transaction to get $20 for whatever that he needed it for, which we're going to get into that in a minute here. And so you see him, but in the background you see a light, and then the next photo you don't see it, but then if you pull in the next photo you see it again. But this time you see like at least this is what I've seen anyway. If you go back and watch the segment, which at the end of this video, or well, not at the end of this video, but in the description, if I can, I'll link it. Or if you look hard enough, you can find it. Or if you ask me, I can link you to it. But anyway, if you look at the photo of the transaction, you can see the front of a car, like you can see the wheel, you can see like the hood of the car, and then there's the light. And I kind of thought in the beginning that maybe that he had been attacked at the ATM, because there had been another case that was featured in Unsolved Mysteries, and I'm forgetting the guy's name now, but Matthew Chase, that's it, Matthew Chase. The case of Matthew Chase, where he needed to go deposit his check or something like that, and he left home, and he was basically like a guy had come up behind him and attempted to rob him at the ATM, and there was actually, like the Michael Hunter case right now, there was a camera in the ATM. I assume that's pretty common for all ATMs, that there's a camera in them, but anyway, in the screenshots, there was a guy right at his shoulder. So watching this, I kind of thought to maybe back to that case and thinking maybe that's what happened here. But as noted in a second here, obviously nothing Nothing happened because Michael showed up at a liquor store a half a block away from the ATM. He purchased a pint of whiskey, which was later found in his jacket at the gas station where he was found. Um, so basically, what happened is after he left the liquor store, the police believe that he had pulled off to the side to a side road 3 miles from the gas station, which is known for its view of the Bay Bridge. Apparently, in the episode of Unsolved Mysteries, Robert Stack stated that it was like a breathtaking kind of view. And I mean, that's a very common thing for guys who ride motorcycles or ATMs or whatever off-road vehicles, whatever, to kind of stop and kind of enjoy the scenery of the place that they're in. So I mean, that's not a very uncommon thing to do. And I mean, especially on a night like this, where it was kind of like a summer night, and Michael was out enjoying his ride. Maybe he stopped because he did buy that whiskey, so maybe he stopped to admire the view of the Bay Bridge, as well as maybe have a little drink. And maybe not too much to kind of get tipsy, but maybe just have a few sips from the drinking and just enjoy the night, because um, the lead investigator, one of the cops that was interviewed in this segment, had said that it was almost like a summer night. So that's what I think maybe happened, is he just kind of, is he was one of those guys that just enjoyed the views of where he went. So maybe he just had stopped to just take in the view of the Bay Bridge and just enjoy a little drink of his whiskey. But police believe that this was where he encountered his killer. Or killers. Nobody really knows if there was one or two or multiple individuals, because there was no witnesses have come forward to kind of point that out really to really know if there was one or more of them. But police believe that this was where he encountered his killer, or killers, however many there were. And they believe that the motive for this was to rob him of his wallet and money or whatever he had on him, and to take his motorcycle. Now, Michael, being an avid motorcycle rider, would not want to give up his motorcycle, and it was a custom Honda it was a custom Honda VFR sport bike is what it was. And he would not want to give that up. I don't think anybody would want to give their passion up, especially a vehicle like that that's custom made, that he probably worked on for probably years, and probably had it for years, and had won many races on it. So he would be very reluctant to give that up. So police have stated that excuse me, police had stated that he tried to drive off before he was shot, but he was I guess, as probably before he could pull away from the attacker, they shot him 3 times. And we're going to get into that in a second here, as to where he was shot, where the bullets were found, all that kind of stuff. So this happened about a half hour later, basically. So Michael did end up getting away, and it would have been quite a ride that he would have had to have made, especially being injured, because he had 3 bullets in him. There was one which shattered his knee. There was one in his lodged in his abdomen, and then there was one which severed his aorta. So, I mean, especially having the shattered knee, that would make it a lot more harder to ride than the 2 bullets. Had it just been the 2 bullets, he probably could have been okay, and he might have been able to ride faster, but he didn't, being that he had one that had severed his aorta, which was the most fatal one, and then he had one lodged in his abdomen, and then one in his one which shattered his knee. he had few minutes, he had minutes to live, and I think he just had to do, I think he just did the best that he could, and I believe, and the cop that was interviewed also believed that like his training in riding and racing and having dealt with injuries probably before in his past as a racer and as an avid rider, that that he could basically make that ride. It was not an easy ride to make because it was I don't know the exact length of how long it was from the view of the Bay Bridge to the gas station where he had collapsed, but just his his past and his training as a racer would have been able to help him make that ride. Whereas as a normal motorcycle rider who never really had the training of being a racer or the experience of being injured and having to continue a race would basically have, it would be a lot harder, especially with a shattered knee. Like I could only imagine how hard that and how painful that would be to try to make that ride. So about a half hour later, maybe a bit more, Michael pulled into a gas station, hunched over on his bike, weaving erratically, and he was driving very slowly before he fell over with his bike to the concrete below. Paramedics recalled his pulse was very slow, and he excuse me, he was barely alive. And I guess his breathing, I would imagine with his aorta severed and all that, his breathing and stuff probably wouldn't be that good either, and his heart rate. Well, I guess yeah, if his pulse was slow, then his heart rate would have been slow. So yeah, he had very few minutes to live, and he was just holding on. Now, when investigators and paramedics got there, there was absence of any external injuries. They saw which basically confused them on scene because there was no blood at all around the scene or even on Michael. There was no blood at all, and if he had crashed or whatever, there would be blood, but there was no blood found at the time. It wasn't until that he was in the ER that it was discovered that he was shot by a small caliber weapon. And then it was like the one bullet that shattered his knee, the one lodged in his abdomen, and then the fatal one which severed his or punctured his aorta, not severed it, but punctured it. And the wounds could barely be seen, which would explain for the absence of blood. So he was bleeding internally, and he later died minutes later after 9 p.m. So at the time of this case, Michael's friends and family offered a $10,000 reward for any information which could lead to his killer. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know how much family or friends he has left, or even if the the reward could still be offered now or not. I mean, it probably could be, but yeah, it's like I said, this is one of those cases, and I've covered many of them before. And this is one of them because it's just one of those ones that, like, there's so many different theories and nobody really knows what happened because it's a mystery attacker. It pretty much happened on like a desolate road, like basically a side road that looked at the Bay Bridge. So it's like you really have to stop and wonder, like, what, like, did anybody see him? Because, like, you would think on the ride that he had to have made, like I said, I don't know how long the ride was, but his bike was red, white, and blue, as was his helmet, as was the jacket he was wearing, so he was very color coordinated, so he wouldn't be hard to miss. So you have to wonder, did anybody see him? Did anybody see his killer? Or killers? And you would just think, like, if somebody did, that it would be, he'd be very recognizable with his bike, with the outfit kind of matching the same, because it would be very recognizable. It would be hard. It wouldn't be hard to miss that. And it's just like, this is one of those cases where there's just so many possible theories. Did it happen where Michael, or not Michael, but did Michael's murder or the shooting of Michael happen where the police theorized that it happened? Did it happen somewhere else? I don't know. Like I said, if there wasn't a reported sighting at him at the liquor store, I would have and just with the view of that car in one of the pictures, like I said, it could be it would be a case like Matthew Chase's case, and that's what I would point to, if he wasn't seen at the liquor store minutes later. So, I don't know. I think with the whole ATM, I think that with the whole ATM thing, I just think the car was probably just passing by or something like that, or whatever. I thought maybe it was Michael's bike in the beginning, because you really just see the light in the beginning, but then with that picture, like I said before, you see the light, and then you don't see it, and then you see the light again, but there's a wheel and there's a hood. So I mean, obviously it was a car. So yeah, like I said, I don't know. There's just so many possible ways that this case could have went down. There's so many theories, I'm sure, out there. It's just, unfortunately, it's just one of those cases that are like so many others out there that we really don't ever have an answer. And this case happened in 1992, so almost 30 years ago now, and I'm sure we have probably the same amount of answers now that we did back then. And I mean, it's a shame, because there's so many cases like this where um that have happened, that just go unsolved, and they remain unsolved, and they remain cold cases for many years. And I don't know if this case is still open or not. I would imagine, since there was no killer or anything found like that, that it probably would be. It's just, there's so many cases like that that have just gone on for so many years, and it's like there's just so many unanswered questions, and just like, how many killers were there? Where did this happen? Why did this happen? Like, we don't have the answers, and it's a shame. And I would think, like, if something like this had happened now, like the Gabby Petito case, I believe it's possible that this case could have been solved if it happened in today's world. But unfortunately, it happened in 92, 30 years ago, almost, where there was no smartphones or anything like that. So I mean, the only really national kind of case, or national way to kind of get cases out there, was like the local news or the newspaper or Unsolved Mysteries, which is why I started this this whole thing in my whole channel, and doing this in the beginning, was to kind of keep the story out there. And I don't know, but maybe it could help in some way to kind of get the case out there. Like I said, it's it's a long shot, because it happened so long ago. But maybe somebody that was in that area, um or whatever, or in San Francisco, who lived in San Francisco at that time, would see this video, or the Unsolved Mysteries segment of it, or whatever, who could give information for that. And I mean, that's kind of why I started doing these videos, and it's kind of why I started to come that I decided to come today, to come back and kind of redo them, because I mean, you guys deserve that, because I'm almost at 200 subscribers, and I always said, as long as people are watching, that I would continue to do it. And I mean, I'm still getting views and comments occasionally on the older videos that I did. So I mean, that's kind of why I decided to put out this new one as well. But I mean, yeah, that's the case of Michael Hunter. It's an unfortunate one. It's a sad one. Unfortunately, I really don't know. I don't know if we'll ever have answers for it. But just because it was taken it was just so long ago, like I said. I don't want to keep rambling on about like that, but it was just so long ago. I don't know. If nobody would have came out about it then, why didn't people come out about it? Or if anybody hasn't come out about it now, why didn't any, or how come nobody came out then? I just think, like I said, I don't know if there was any witnesses, and I believe if there were, that it would that somebody would have showed up by now, or went to the cops, because I mean, like I stated before, Michael was wearing a red, white, and blue helmet, a jacket, and his bike was red, white, and blue. So I mean, like the cops said, and like I stated earlier, it would be very hard to miss that. And yeah, like I said, it's a shame, but I it's a case that I wanted to cover because I've seen it. I've watched the segment a few times, and it was something that I did want to eventually cover if I ever did come back and do YouTube again. And yeah. So I mean, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be a regular thing or not, but we'll see. I'll for now. This is just kind of testing the waters to see how it'll go. So I think I'm gonna end it here because I think I'm at 31 minutes. Holy crap! Yeah. So I think I'm gonna end it here just because I want to get this done and I don't want to keep rambling on. But like I said earlier, I'll put a link in the description of this video to the segment of the case, and yeah, so I'll put a link in the description for the segment of the case and the timestamp of the case if you want to skip past the other cases and go to it. So I'll do that. And also in the description I'll have the timestamp of when this case starts, which I mean really doesn't matter now because you've watched the whole video anyway. But so I'll put that in the description as well, and I'll put a link to my Instagram, my Twitter, because I have a new Twitter now. If for any returning subscribers that had my old Twitter, I have a new Twitter now, so I'll put that in the description if you want to follow me there, and we can discuss the cases. So whether on Instagram or on Twitter, whatever you want. I'm on Instagram a lot more, but if I get sent something on Twitter, I'll check that out as well. And also, if you're into gaming or anything like that, I will put a link to my Twitch channel as well. I kind of do Twitch streams every now and then of games that I play, and I'm trying to kind of get into it now. Again, kind of like I'm doing this. So I'll put that in the description. So yeah, I would imagine, whether this goes well or not, or even if I just get some views. I mean, if it gets views at all or anything like that, I plan on doing more cases regardless. So, like I've said in my videos past, if you like this video, feel free to like. Apparently, the like button or the dislike button or whatever isn't really a thing anymore. I don't know. There's something about that going on. But if you like it, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. It's okay. Like, it really doesn't matter to me. I'm just doing this for fun and just because I have a passion for this stuff. If you want to subscribe, feel free to. If you want to comment, you can comment. And like I said, you can follow me on Instagram or on Twitter. We can talk the cases there. And yeah, it feels good to be back. It feels good to be covering this stuff again. And I look forward to doing more of it. So, like I used to say before, I'll see you in the next one.